So today we're going to be doing training on touch points, but a lot of people, when they think about touch points, they think about a 33 touch system after the transaction's been completed. So if you've ever read the book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, you'll see that once a client has been transacted with, there's supposed to be a 33 touch system after that transaction's done in order to get 1 out of 12 people to transact with you in a year. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you've done 144 transactions in a year, okay? Now, in those 144 transactions, if you do a touch system where you're interacting with them in some way 33 times in 1 year, those 144 people, okay, you should get 12 transactions out of that. So 1 out of every 12 people that you transact with, if you do a 33 touch system, you will get 1 deal from them. Does that make sense? But that's what people think about when they think about touch systems. Now, when I think about touch systems, I think about it in that way too. But I also think about it from the point of initial contact. That's when the touch system really starts, okay? Like once they're done, you've done the transaction with them and you're sending them mail for Christmas, you're sending them a turkey for Thanksgiving, you're calling them to give them a checkup to see what their property is currently worth a year later. There's those touch points, but that happens after the transaction. Now, what happens before the transaction? And whatever happens before the transaction from the initial point of contact is going to determine whether you keep that client or not. Okay. And what I mean by that is, have you guys ever shown properties to, certain clients and then all of a sudden they just completely disappear and ghost you? And then you blame the client? Well, yeah, sometimes it's the client's fault, but a lot of the times it's your fault because you didn't go through the proper touch mechanisms throughout the process to keep them as a client. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is a lot of the time you'll just call somebody up. Hey, I want to see this property. Boom, you go show them the property. And then guess what? You never hear from them again. Why do you think that happens? I want somebody to answer that. Is Angel talking? Maybe I need to turn the volume up.
Can you hear me?
Hold on. Want to write it in the chat? I can't seem to hear anything right now. No, it doesn't even have to do with the follow-up. It's that you rushed the showing. Okay. You rushed it. You just showed up there. You didn't build enough of a relationship beforehand. And then even if you follow up, they're not going to answer your call. So the follow-up isn't going to be even there. You know what I mean? Now, what could we do differently? I'll tell you. Okay. So let's do an example of a number of touches here. Start with the buyer. I don't know if you guys probably can't see that well, but this says buyer, okay? Now, the first time you talk to a buyer, Let's say they come in on an internet generated lead. This says universal callback script. This isn't just setting up a showing. It's getting to know certain criteria. Do they have a house that they have to sell? Why do they want to sell? What do they want to buy? Do they want to buy first? Do they want to sell first? You know, are they pre-qualified? All these types of questions, they're not just there just for the sake of being there. They're there because it's causing you to dig in deeper to the motivation of the buyer or the seller. Okay, and let's call it the buyer in this case. Okay. Now, for example, just kind of give you an idea. Hey, Steve Alexopoulos, Metro City Property Group. The reason of the call, you had visited abc.com. How you finding your search? Hey, I'm finding it great. Okay, so perfect. Are you planning on moving in the next 3 to 6 months? Yeah, probably in 4 months. Okay, so when do you think that'll be kind of more towards next spring or kind of more towards the school year? Yeah, probably in the spring. Okay, perfect. What's the reason for the move? The reason for the move is, you know, we're downsizing, blah, 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 whatever it is. Okay, do you currently rent or do you own your own home? We currently own our own home. Okay, perfect. Would you have to sell your home before you buy a new one? So this is buy first, sell first. So these are all questions that I'm gathering information. Problem is, somebody calls in on your listing or somebody calls in to go see a house and you don't even pre-qualify them. You just set up the showing. Oh my God, I got a showing. And then you go to the showing, you open the door, you're like an order taker. Here, open the door, go in. Hey, what did you think? Nah, it was okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I'll talk to you later. Okay, yeah, I'll follow up with you. And then you call them and then they just ghost you. Now, the reason they ghosted you is for a lot of reasons. You didn't provide enough value, number one. Number two, someone else probably came along and provided more value and you lost them to that other agent that was better than you or did a better job. They're not better than you, but maybe they did a better job during the whole touch system process. So you need to, even before you see that person, have minimum 4 touches. Okay, minimum. Through the whole process of real estate, there could end up being hundreds of touches per client. Hundreds. Okay, from A to Z and beyond, which means after the transactions, it can be hundreds. But let's start with some 4 simple ones. Okay, universal callback script. Certain things I want to know. Buy first, sell first. When they want to move, why they want to move. Okay. Rent or own. Pre-approval. Do they currently have an agent? And then once that's all done, the offer. Every call has to have an offer attached to it. There needs to be an offer, and that's something I can't tell you, but you need to have an offer. On the buy side, what's your offer? Why do they want to work with you on the buy side and not just some random schmo? On the sell side, why would they rather list with you than someone else? It can be as simple as we're going to make you more money on the sell side, and on the buy side, it can be like, we got off-market properties, just to kind of give you a few hints. Okay, what is your offer? Like, this is the first time, this is the first touch now. Now, imagine an agent going in there, calling somebody I want to see 123 Main Street, okay? And then you go, you show them 123 Main Street. You don't know when they want to buy it. You don't know why they want to buy it. You don't even know if they're working with an agent or not. You could have shown that property and they could have been signed up with an agent. Right? And you just wasted your whole freaking time. Or you showed them the property and their wife wasn't there. And they're also going to be on title. Is everyone on title going to be present? Right? Like all these things that you miss because you're rushing it, because you're hoarding to get a sale, let's be honest. But you're wasting your time. But not only are you wasting your time, you are making the experience for the client worse. Okay. You want to make the experience for the client because they don't know what the good experience is. They think they know what a good experience is, but they don't know what a good experience is. You should know what the good experience is. And a good experience is not missing information throughout the pre-qualification. Okay. I could spend so much time on this, so I'm going to try and like quicken it up. So first touch, initial conversation, but see how much information I'm gathering from that initial conversation. When, why, rent your own, pre-approval. Is anyone else on title? Do you have an agent? Yeah, we saw a property with this one guy at an open house. Okay, no problem. Do you have any paperwork signed with them? No. Excellent. They're still good. Do you want to buy first or sell first? If they already own a home. If they rent, that question doesn't matter. Okay, but if they rent, are you on a short-term lease? Are you on a long-term lease? Are you on month-to-month? Right? These are all questions that should just be bouncing off of you while you're doing in this call. Makes you look sharp as a tack. You sound like a professional. Okay, let's bypass this. What's next? You need to have, this is the second touch. So if you guys are with like Remax or EXP or freaking Royal LePage or whoever the hell you're with, I'm pretty sure you guys might have some type of buyer package or seller package that you can send before. I like to call it on the seller side, for example, I like to call it a pre-listing package. Now, oftentimes your team or your brokerage will not have one. You know, most teams probably don't have them, to be honest, or they just don't do them. You need one. If you don't have one, make one. Use AI. Use freaking whatever the hell you need to use. Go on AI, say, hey, can you make me a freaking pre-listing qualification pamphlet? And then do it and then print it out, whatever, it doesn't matter. Here's ours.
Do you have that in a
What's the
PDF?
seller
So we
side?
can...
7 steps for home seller success. This is a beautiful package. Look at this thing. Look at that. I'm a professional. Okay, really looking forward to meeting with you. In the next 24 hours, I'm going to be sending you a package in the mail. It's called the 7 Steps to Home Seller Success. It's going to go over what you need to do to prepare your home for sale. It's going to give you some great information, and it's going to tell you a little bit about who we are. Send this in the mail. They get it. 2 touch points. Now, what am I doing like every time I'm doing these touch points? I'm building rapport, right? Think about it this way, and I always use this analogy. Let's say you go, listen, you're building a relationship. Like, let's say you want a girlfriend, okay? And you just take her out on one quick date. Is she gonna become your girlfriend right away the next day? No. But let's say you call her, you set up a great, you get to know her on the phone, get to know what she likes. And then you set up, a nice date. Before you go on the date, you send her some flowers in the mail. And then you go out on the date. And then there's more and more and more touch points. She's gonna become your girlfriend. Why? Because she's gonna trust you more. Okay, she's gonna get to know you, you're gonna get to know her. It's the same thing in business. People are gonna work with people they trust. And if you just go and you show somebody a property or go to the listing presentation, you're not going to acquire them as a client. Multiple touch points at every corner. So I sent them touch 2. There's so many touches, guys. So many. Like I'm going to have to do an entirely new video to go over the touch points for after the sale's completed. This is just for even before the sale happens. Okay. Touch point number 2. Oh, and by the way, when you tell them you're sending them the package, I'm also going to be calling you the day before to reconfirm the appointment and to ask a few more questions. Sound fair enough? Yes. Boom. What's next? Day before, you want to talk to them again. But this time, you're going to dig a little deeper. You want to find out. So let's pretend this is a seller appointment. Okay. So, hey, John, spoke to you a few days. Really looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. Just got a few questions. So tell me again, where are you moving to? Oh, I'm moving to Wisconsin. Okay, perfect. And again, when you have to be there, I got to be there, blah, 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 blah. And again, what's the reason for the move? So you can reiterate some of these questions if you didn't get them. If you already got them, then you don't really have to know them. If you do know them, so for example, what's the reason? Okay, so you told me that the reason for the move was you guys wanted, your daughter was moving out and you guys just wanted to move and kind of, go to your vacation home. Yeah. So you're reiterating what they had already told you. Next question, very, very important. Extremely important. What are you looking to achieve in terms of sales price? Why is this question important? Does anybody want to answer it? Just write it in there. Somebody write in the chat why they think it's important to ask so they don't have unrealistic. Yeah, of course. Now, they may say, you know what? I'm just going to wait for you to tell me that. Why aren't you the person that's supposed to tell me? Yeah, hey, totally understand. We just want to make sure that we're being realistic with people. So we're just curious as to what you thought it was worth. Of course, we're going to tell you what we think it's worth as well. So you try to dig a bit deeper. Sometimes they don't tell you, that's what you're for. Hey, totally understand. I'm going to 100% tell you. But, we just love to work with realistic people. And we want to know, realistically what you think it's worth. Okay. Other questions? Can you describe your home for me? What upgrades have been done? How old's the roof, furnace, AC? Will everyone on title be present? Are you interviewing more than one person for the job of selling your home? We want to know all these things. If the numbers work and you're confident with our marketing initiatives, would you have us handle the marketing and exposure of your home? Pre-close them. Okay. Remember, this was touch number 3. Already touch number 3. You have you haven't even met this person yet. Think about that. You haven't even met this person yet, and they've already had 3 touches with you. So 1, callback script. 2, buyer seller package. 3, listing or buyer pre-qualification call. Listing pre-qualification call. 4, pull this over. Listing presentation now. 4. Now this is a whole new set of touches. Finally meet the person. You want to make a good impression. You want to be dressed well. You want to make eye contact. Shake their hand. And you want to set expectations of what is going to happen when you first meet them. Why? It's because you take control of the situation. Okay? You don't want them to have control of the situation. You take control of the situation. It's reciprocal, but you're leading the way. Like, think about it. Imagine like going to a doctor or a lawyer and them being like not taking charge at all. And they want like you to do everything. Like, would it not be weird? Like, people in this case look at you as a professional. You need to show that you're a leader and that you're going to take charge. So here's how you can start it off. So, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it was a pleasure meeting you. You know, I've had the opportunity to send you guys over the pre-listing package, talked to you originally on the phone, talked to you yesterday to confirm the appointment. What's going to happen today is, first thing is, you're going to take me around the home and you're going to tell me everything about the home. And I'm going to get to know the house a little bit better. I'm also going to get to know you guys a little bit better. Okay. Once that's done, we're going to sit down and we're going to go over all the marketing initiatives that we offer as a team. And we're going to show you how we can achieve 2 to 3% more money with regard to sale price. Okay. Once that's done, we're going to go over what I think the home of the price is. We're going to go over what the price of the home is worth. Okay. Or we're just going to go over price, however you want to say it. And if we can agree on a price that makes sense, then I'll be happy to work with you. Sound fair enough? Good. So you gave them the 3 steps. You gave them what I like to call the gears of selling. You initiated what is going to happen. Now, 4, meet. 5, gears of selling is broken up into 3 parts. Warm up. What's the warm up? The warm up is getting to know the house and getting to know them. This is the initial phase of when I'm walking around with them in the house. Am I asking them the right questions? Am I setting myself up as a professional? Okay. Why am I asking them certain questions? One of the questions I ask just on a personal level is, hey, have you always lived in Ottawa? You know, just to kind of get to know their past, their history. And when I talk about the house, I'm asking them questions about, you know, has there been any issues in terms of water penetration in the basement? How was the roof? How was the furnace? How long have you lived here? Every single question that you can ask, gather it down and write it down. You want to be walking around with your notepad or whatever it is and taking down information. Now, why am I writing it down? I'm writing it down because I want to show that I'm listening. Okay. And I want to show that I think what I'm asking them is important. If I'm not writing it down, they're probably just like, he doesn't really care. When you start writing stuff down, when people are telling you things, they're like, holy shit, this guy's really listening to me. So write everything down. So the warm up, take them through the whole house, get to know them on a personal level and get to know them get to know the house. Get to know them, get to know the house. Simple. Okay. Once that warm up is done, another point of, now all these are touch points. Now I want you to, I'm going to go off topic here. So there's a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. Okay. And it really gets into touch points, but the guy is a restaurateur. Okay. He owns a bunch of restaurants and he sat down with his staff one day and he was actually at EXPCon. And I listened to his speech. It was unbelievable. They started out with like 5 touch points. When somebody comes into the restaurant, they order the food, they get sat down by the hostess, after they get sat down by the hostess, they bring in the waters. So they like identified like 7 different touch points. So he sat down with his team and he's like, let's think about as many touch points as we can possibly think of. Okay. And we're not leaving until we've got them all. So 2 hours went by, they had like 10 touch points. And they're like, we need more. Another 2 hours went by. They had like 30 touch points. Okay. Next day they came back. Let's look at more touch points. They had over 100 by the time it was all done. So they started at 7. Then they got up to 100 and something. I think it was 123. And they said, how can we make every single one of those touch points better to increase the consumer experience? Real estate is no different. Okay. It's no different than the restaurant industry. It's just a different product. But the customer service still has to be there. And the way to improve customer service is by increasing the amount of touch points and increasing the quality of every touch point. So what have I done so far? Hi, Maddie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So like,
Hi.
for example, when we started with the universal callback, we asked the right questions. It's not just a matter of call them and book the showing. That's not a good touch point value. It's horrible. You could be wasting their time, you could be wasting your time. More importantly, you're wasting their time. But if you ask them the right questions and dig deep, you're increasing the value of that touch point. Now, think about it from a restaurant. One of the touch points is the server comes down, right? Have you ever noticed that at a fancy restaurant, they're not just order takers, right? Have you noticed that they like, somebody will ask, oh, what do you think is good? And then they'll ask, are you looking for a beef dish? Are you looking for a chicken dish? What is your favorite kind of meats? Okay, well, we could pair this with this. We have this one, we could pair with this fish because we know you like fish. And they increase the experience at every touch point. That's the difference between a professional restaurant and going to like McDonald's and just ordering a Big Mac and it's just there, right? You're a professional. And at a professional restaurant that is like a 3 Michelin star restaurant, like the one where this gentleman works at, they have more touch points and more quality at those touch points. Now, you as a real estate agent, you could be an order taker. You call them up, okay, I booked the showing, see you there. Don't know anything about them, go to the freaking showing, show them the house, open the door. Oh yeah, I don't like this house. Okay, well, I'll call you tomorrow. Never see them again, never talk to them again. because they think you suck, because you do suck. Right? You didn't go through the right process. But if I do it the proper way, and I call them, and I ask them the proper questions, why are you looking to move? When are you looking to move by? Okay, do you rent or do you own a home? Well, we own a home. Okay, are you looking to buy first or are you looking to sell first? They could say, well, we don't know if we want to buy first or sell first. How do you answer that question? Hey, well, typically most of the time, how we feel is a lot of times people need to know the value of their home before they go out and they buy their next home. So I think a really good idea would be for me to come by, determine the value of the home. And that way, you know, once you sell the home, how much money you're still going to have left in your pocket to go buy your next home. So it's always a great idea for us to start what the value of your home would be. And that's where I come in. Okay. See how I handled that? They asked me, the professional, well, should I buy first or should I sell first? I say, hey, well, typically a lot of times people need to know how much money they're going to get for their next transaction by determining the value of the house. So a good starting point would be for us to come by and do a free home market evaluation and determine the value of your house. So you know exactly how much money you're going to have to buy your next dream home. And then you continue with the questions. Don't just stop. You want to know everything. Right? Do you have a pre-approval in place? No, we don't have a pre-approval in place. You don't just stop there. Hey, perfect. We have an in-house mortgage specialist. He's going to be giving you a call. We're going to be determining exactly what you can afford up to this point right now. He'll be able to give you the best rates, not just one bank. And on top of that, the best type of rates, but not only the best type of rates, I just messed up here. The best type of terms for you as well. Okay. So these are all just ways to increase the experience. This is all from the first call. Then the second call, and then after I'm done, hey, while I have you on the phone, I'm looking forward to meeting you, but I'm going to be sending you 6 steps to buyer success. You're going to have within the next 24 hours. It's going to tell you everything you need to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they get this sent in the mail. After they get this sent in the mail, it shows that you're an actual professional. You're not just right off the streets. Call them with the pre-qualification script. Go over all the questions. Maybe you missed some of them, but I'll just go over a few of them quickly here. What's the reason for the move? What are you looking at in terms of sales price? Would you describe your home for me? What upgrades have been done? Will everyone on title be present? Are you planning to interview more than one agent? You're confident with the marketing initiatives and everything makes sense and you can determine the price. Would you have us handle the marketing and exposure of your property? Already 3 touches before I've even met them. 4th, I'm going to go back. Let's do presentation. You meet them. The warm up, years of selling. Warm up number 1. Number 2, presentation. Number 3, close. So this is the 5th touch point, the warm up. And you're going to be telling them what's going to be happening. Okay. Hey, Joey, pleasure to meet you. Been looking, really looking forward to meeting you. What we're going to be doing today is you're going to take me around the house. I'm going to get to know the house a little bit better. And I'm going to get to know you a little bit better as well. I'll be asking you a lot of questions and I'll be writing it down as well. Second thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to net you to 2 to 3% more money based on our marketing initiatives. And number 3, if we can agree on a price that makes sense, then we'll be able to work together. Sound fair enough? Yes. Walk through the house, ask all the questions. Some of the questions of the house, but also of them. It's called a warm up. You're warming them up. You're getting to know them. You're getting to know the house, building rapport. Once that's done, hey, let's grab the seat right over here. I usually ask for a glass of water just because it shows that, like, I've been in so many homes, I'm not afraid to ask people for a glass of water or anything like that. Say, hey, is it okay if I grab a glass of water? I've been running around a lot today. Yeah, no problem. Grab a glass of water, drink it. It's like You're in charge. You do this all the time. You're not afraid to ask somebody for a glass of water. You probably haven't had a glass of water in like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. You need a glass of water. Okay, so you sit down. I mean, I could get into serious detail here, but essentially, I like to be sitting at the end table. Let's say the wife's here. Husband's here. I want to be sitting in between them. Why? Because when I get them to sign, I can go over, get them to sign here. Get them to sign here. It's interactive. That's a whole other topic. But we got the warm up. Then after the warm up, the presentation. And you better have the best freaking presentation. If you don't have a good presentation, get a good presentation. Okay. What sets you apart? Like, why would somebody work with you versus another agent? Why? Like, is it because you're just gonna throw them a bunch of comparables? Hey, I think it's worth 500,000. Let me know what you think. Or are you gonna blow them away with value? This is how we're gonna net you more money. This is what we do for marketing. This is how we're gonna market your home. Okay. Now that I can't tell you, but you better have a freaking good listing presentation. But these are, again, touch points. Like, you gotta, like, we're already at touch point number 6. Okay. Then there's gonna be 33 more touches after we've actually done this. Like, we're talking, there's almost 100 touch points with every client. I'm not gonna be able to go through every single one of them, but I'm just trying to show you guys the basics. So during that presentation, now I'm gonna give you a little hint. The more times that you can get them to say yes during a presentation, the higher of a chance you will have of closing the presentation. That's a hint. Okay. Now think about ways you can do that. I'll give you some ways. So for example, let's say you do a shit ton of marketing through, I don't know, farming or mailouts. Okay. I'm just hypothetically speaking. So would you agree? So at the end of the tidbit of knowledge you're giving them, a way to ask that would be say, hey, would you agree that based on all the marketing initiatives we're doing through the, the online mailouts or the mailouts, would you agree that would be able to create more demand and get it sold at a higher price? Yes. Would you agree that based on this, we'd be able to get you a higher price? Yes. Would you agree that based on this, we'd be able to get you a higher price? Yes. Right? Notice they're saying yes. I'm getting them to say yes. So when I ask them at the end of the presentation, in not so many words, do you want to work with me? They're going to say yes. Get them saying yes throughout the presentation. Seven is the close. Who here's got a good close? I do.
What was the question? I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, why can't I hear her? Like, this is ridiculous.
You
Hold
can
on.
hear me? Hold on. Can you hear me?
1 second. Hey, Maria, I can't hear you. You want to type it in?
Yes, it just I did
I
not
think it's
understand
because I'm on
your
it's like just the
question.
TV. I said, what is What's a good way to close the presentation?
Hi. Sorry, Steve, can you repeat the question? What's a good close, like after the presentation? I don't know if you can hear me. Hello? Can you hear us? I don't know.
What, anyways, yeah, I can't hear you guys. I'm just gonna go ahead. So
Oh, he cannot hear us?
one of the ones I like is, just saying something like, if we can agree on a price that makes sense, would you have us handle the marketing and exposure of your property? After you've given them all the value. And I've already asked that during the pre-qualification questions, if you noticed. Like, if what, like when you're on the pre-qualification, you say, hey, when I meet you guys, if what I say makes sense and you feel I can get you guys more money and we can agree on a price for the home, would you have us handle the marketing and exposure? Yeah, we've already pre-closed them. Like I'm trying to pre-close as much as I can all the time. Do you agree that we'd be able to create more demand, sell at a higher price based on what I just showed you? Yes. So like all these little pre-closes, once it gets to the actual close, or I'm getting them to sign, they've already been warmed up, microwaved. It's not a hard close anymore. You know what I mean? I've taken them out now on like, many dates. This isn't this isn't a one-time thing. They trust you now. I know it sounds bad, but let's face it, it's the reality. They trust you more. Now they want to work with you. It's the same thing in relationships or anything like that. It's anything in life. People need to trust you. People won't trust you unless you've built that trust over multiple interactions. Quality multiple interactions. Not just one crappy interaction and now they're going to sign their life away to you. They're not going to marry you. They're not. Probably not even going to kiss you. Multiple quality interactions. Let me repeat that. Multiple quality interactions. We've got 7 right around here. So like, if I were you guys, I would be like, sit down, like every single point of contact with the client. How many of them are there? How can I create more value added touches? Okay. And how can I create the experience better for every single one of those touches? Because guess what? Once the transaction's done, it doesn't stop. You're still going to have 33 touches after that, plus, hundreds. It does not end. The touches do not end. But the more quality touches during or before, during, and after are going to get you more referrals as well. That's the key. And part of those touches need to be a referral process. So once the close is done, you still have the listing. You got the listing now. Then there's going to be the staging consultation. There's going to be the photos. How can you increase the quality at those points as well? Okay. Putting the sign up. Oh, the price of the home didn't sell. How do you do a price adjustment properly? Right? There's so many freaking touches. Think about it. Like there's hundreds. How can you increase the quality of those interactions more to make you stand out as a professional and not just an order taker? Always go back to the restaurant example. Fine dining restaurants, you're going there for an experience. They're professionals. Multiple touch points. The way they pour the water is different. Right? You know, he also mentioned something because he was at EXPCon and his real estate agent was there. And one of the things that happened with him was his real estate agent, when she sold his home, okay, she noticed all the things that were in his fridge and she would take pictures of the things that were in his fridge. And when he went to buy the new house, she put all the things, she went and bought all the things that were in his fridge and put it brand new in his new fridge, which I thought was really cool. And he's like, that's something that really stood out. That's unreasonable hospitality. That's taking things to the next level of hospitality. You know what I mean? Like think about when you're at a normal restaurant and, you know, they just bring you the bill. Get the hell out of here. What he would do is he would show up with a bottle of cognac, put 2 shots out, put the bottle there and say, hey guys, I'm going to leave this bottle here. Whenever you guys are ready to pay the bill, you let me know, but take your time, have as much of the cognac as you guys want. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys again. Like, notice how though it's the same thing. They both brought the bill, but the way the professional did it, the one with unreasonable hospitality, the way he did it is going to create a feeling. It's going to create an experience for them to want to come back. Because one's a professional and one's an amateur. So you got to ask yourself, are you creating a professional experience or an amateur experience? And if you can't, and it's okay if you're doing an amateur experience right now, but you gotta break out of that and you gotta start creating a professional experience. And the only way to do that, okay, the only way to create a professional experience is you got to want to help the person. Okay. You gotta enjoy helping people and creating value. Because if you give them a better experience, you're gonna have a better experience too. And you're both gonna be happier. So, you know, it's not just like do it for them, do it for you too. Because when you give a better experience, you get a better experience within yourself too. So my challenge to you guys, and I'm going to do a whole new training on the touch points after the transaction's done. But what I really want you guys to take away from this is write down all the touch points that you could have with a client from beginning to end. Like really sit down and write them out. And then what I want you to do is figure out, and I've done a lot of it for you already, but figure out how you can increase the quality of that touch point. More touch points, increase the quality of the touch points, equals client for life, equals referrals, equals awesome business. Right? Do you guys have any questions? And just write them down if you do, because I can't hear anyone. The sound is not working on my end. All good? I don't see any questions there, so. All right. Okay, you guys have a great, oh, do you have any PDF examples of the pre-presentation booklets that have been successful with your brokerage? Angel, can you write out your phone and email, please, for me? Do you have a book recommendation to get houses sold after you get the listing? That's a good question. Hold on. Okay. Angel, I'll talk to you about that after, since you're in the same building as me. Tactics, tricks, negotiating. Okay, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for coming on. Bye.
Bye.